This episode's about suicide.
Five-Year Mission, the podcast, episode 34.
This episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast, is brought to you by Fansets, your home for all things pop culture pin related. Head over to fansets.com and see all that they have to offer. And also stay tuned at the end of the episode for a very special offer from us here at 5-Year Mission.
By now you figured out that this is the 5-Year Mission podcast.
Welcome to another episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast. Tonight, we are looking once again at one of the songs that we... Why are you laughing?
It's always tonight.
I know. I always mess that up.
You want to try that again?
Yeah, sure. Welcome to another episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast, where we will be talking about the song and the episode, A Taste of Armageddon. It's our continuing series called What a Little Song's Made Of. And tonight, or this evening, or this afternoon, or this morning, whenever you may be listening, we are joined by Mike Paul Rittenhouse.
It's not my middle name, man.
Noah Zane Butler. Patrick O'Connor. And Andrelufius Fark, which he's gone for a moment, so he'll be back, I'm sure. He doesn't have a middle name because his first name is so amazing. Andrelufius.
Good stuff, Chris.
A Taste of Armageddon.
Hey, what's your name?
Noah said it's Chris.
Just Chris.
Just Chris.
Like Madonna.
And Cher.
And Prince.
Yes, and Zendaya, or is it Zendaya? It's Zendaya, right?
Zendaya.
Okay. See, I'm in good company.
What are we talking about tonight, Chris? Tonight, on this night?
I told you, it's A Taste of Armageddon.
Oh.
What is that episode about?
Do you not remember that episode?
Oh, yeah, it's suicide.
Yeah, actually, this is the first this song's about suicide song.
This is the first Suicide Series song?
Yeah, of all the Mike songs that are about suicide.
Oh, yeah. Doomsday. Oh, yeah, Doomsday. We haven't got
Because after this, yeah.
This song's about suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Fark is back.
We totally screwed up. We should have started this episode with me saying this episode's about suicide.
Well, you can cut that and paste it.
Yeah, I might do that. Welcome back, Andy.
Hey, good to be back. Kelsey says hi.
Chris was asking, what is this episode about?
Well, they do have the suicide booths, right? Or no, what is that what they're called? What are they called?
Yeah, they're like disintegration chambers is what they call them.
That's right.
Yeah, it's basically the movie War Games written well before War Games, but with actual deaths.
So not like War Games.
and everybody wore awesome hats.
Yeah, they did. They had some pretty nice headwear.
It kind of looked like foreskin.
Yeah, a little bit. This was like the soldiers weren't all circumcised on their heads.
This is taking a dark turn.
Well, it's because I'm back.
So the premise basically is that there's two planets, right?
Yeah,
two planets, and instead of warring and destroying their civilization, they just voluntarily die, right?
Yeah, basically they're chosen. It's like a lottery.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Federation sent a ship to this planet 50 years ago to talk to them about becoming allies, and the ship never returned. Why they waited 50 years to send another ship to investigate, I don't know. So now the Enterprise...
It's very far.
Lots of paperwork.
Not to be confused with the premise of Return of the Archons. Now,
right.
This ship is, the Enterprise is on its way there, and there's this, is he a Commodore? or something like that.
64.
His name's Fox. I can't.
Yeah.
They call him like Ambassador Fox or something like that, Commodore Fox. But,
Ambassador.
Yeah,
Robert
Ambassador Fox. He's like this like really stuffy dude that like doesn't like the way that Kirk runs his ship because he's a diplomat and not a soldier. So they get there and Kirk insists on beaming down first because he wants to check out the situation, and so Kirk beams down with his away team, and they all get kidnapped because the Enterprise is now a casualty in their war.
Yeah.
And they're trying to trick all of the crew to come down so that they can also capture them and make them all go into the suicide chambers, because according to their society and their law, if you are a casualty in their war, you have to let them kill you. You have to report for your death.
Yeah, you have 24 hours to report to a disintegration station.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
So of course, Kirk disagrees with this, and in the end decides to destroy their computer and change their culture.
Real Kirk did that? Really?
Yeah, it's so
doesn't sound like
character.
The first and only time.
It's so unlike the thing that happened 2 episodes ago.
So did this have also had a bridge that had the lyrics in it, or does it not technically apply in the same way?
I think that we chose not to do it for this one because
Is it not an ancient computer? Is that why?
it's not an ancient computer. It's more like what Andy said, like a war games computer. And
modern computer.
But also, I think we decided since this song was only 2 songs after Return of the Archons, we didn't want to do it so soon.
Well, I think tonally it was a good choice to not to use it because, well, I mean the song is pretty long as it is. It would have been a little overly long with that in there. Plus,
similarly to the Apple, I think that it just didn't fit the tone of the song.
Yeah.
So anyway, about the episode, I did take a couple notes on this one that I wanted to share. Some things I thought were interesting or funny. There's a scene where the guy on the planet, what's his name?
Anon 7.
Anon 7, yeah.
Yeah, the dude with a number in his name.
Yeah, for no reason. Like they don't explain why he has a number as a last name.
Nobody else does.
To trick everyone into coming down, he calls the ship and imitates Kirk's voice.
Yep.
But they never explain how he does this. He's just talking and it sounds like Kirk. and then Scotty, he immediately can tell that it's not Captain Kirk. And he asks the computer to analyze it, and the computer says it's like, 98% or whatever, like, but it's not Captain Kirk or something like that. And like, how did that guy imitate Kirk's voice, first of all? And how could Scotty tell that it wasn't him? Like, it sounded just like him, and he didn't say anything that Captain Kirk wouldn't have said.
Yeah.
He's like that guy from Police Academy that can make all the sounds, except he can do everybody's voice.
Winslow.
Yeah, Michael Winslow.
Yeah.
He's the Michael Winslow of Star Trek, except that he can do voices.
This is also one of the episodes that suffers from that really early Trek where some of the lingo is not quite right. Like Spock refers to himself as Vulcanian.
Oh, I forgot about that.
They keep talking about the shields, but they call them screens.
Yeah.
It's just when you're watching it, and once you've seen like so much Star Trek, you're just like, those words aren't right.
This isn't canon.
Oh, Fox also refers to Federation headquarters as Federation Central, which I don't think that they've ever said in any other episode.
That's right.
So I thought that was interesting. This episode also features Sean Kinney at the helm, who he's playing Mr. DuPaul, but he is what everyone probably remembers him as is Captain Pike from Menagerie. And,
Really?
like, yeah, when you're watching it, you're like looking at him and like you can totally see it in his face. It's actually kind of distracting how much he looks like Pike. You know, I mean, like the wheelchair Pike.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Jeffrey Hunter.
Pike.
Yeah, not Jeffrey Hunter.
Okay. I was like,
Paralyzed Pike.
How did we not know
That's
this?
a great bit of trivia, actually.
I missed that.
Yeah, he was in a couple of episodes. I think there's one other episode that he's in, also at the helm. You know,
And
he's
so at the helm, his face is all burned up and everything.
no. Oddly enough, even though this episode airs after Menagerie, he looks perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Huh.
He healed up
You
nicely.
go better.
You guys, it's special effects. They made it look like they made it look like he wasn't all messed up.
Right?
Yes,
They George Lucased it.
There you go.
And one thing I noticed is that I thought was funny is Fox's assistant. He's just this guy that I don't even think he had any lines. He just follows him around. He's wearing
Just a stooge.
he's wearing Arn Darvin's suit. It's like the exact same suit.
Oh.
It was very popular. It was a popular style.
Yeah, it's a popular style of time.
Off the rack from like Space Macy's.
Spaceys.
I'm glad we both did that.
Yeah, me too.
the one other thing
Not Kevin,
that I thought was really, it's like I'm sure it's like a budget thing. Like they didn't do the effect because it saved them time and money, but none of the disruptors that they use have any kind of effect. Like they just point them and then there's a sound and then like explosions happen in another place and there's like nothing coming out of it. And like, I know that it's like, you know, they just didn't do it to save the time and the money, but it actually makes it kind of interesting, like that it doesn't have an effect, I thought.
They're like there's very special blasters. Like they just
Maybe they're like
They're called
sonic
this-
disruptors.
The sublimizers.
sonic disruptors. I think, yeah.
There we go.
They complement the screens. It's Federation Central.
So Mike, what was your inspiration for this song? I mean, where did you start knowing what the episode was about?
So this song started in around the year 2000.
Okay.
This is the first of several 5-year mission songs where I stole from myself. The music for this song, the chord progression and everything, is from another kind of song that I had written like 10 years earlier, and I really liked the music, like the chords and stuff. So I reused it for this song, which I can't imagine it not being this song now. But so you know, I watched the episode and I think I knew I wanted to use that music for the episode, so I kind of had that as a base. And the music itself is already a little on the dystopian side, so you know, I kind of played off of that. I knew it needed to be kind of a more serious song. And also Noah had submitted Galileo 7 at this point. So I think this is kind of my answer to Galileo 7, because he kind of upped the game with that. Like suddenly it was like really like serious and cool and like way more interesting than some of the stuff that we did on year 1. And so I just wanted to kind of follow that theme. So
It wasn't Kafka anymore. It was
yeah.
Kafka-esque.
or was it becoming more Kafkaesque?
Becoming Kafka. The new documentary series on Hulu. It's not really.
No.
So I decided to focus on like the tragedy of the situation that they were in, where they were kind of
Living
stuck
tragedy?
What?
A living tragedy?
No, living casualty is what.
I know. I was just.
And he was just riffing.
I know.
Continue.
Yeah. It's throwing you off.
I know. So yeah, I wanted to kind of focus on that because, you know, it was this kind of the situation that they were in, where they were stuck in this rut for 500 years, where they were just repeating daily this bombing back and forth between the planet next door, and you know, they were just, you know, the computer basically told them who died and then who had to report for death. And I thought that was a ridiculous thing that people would do.
Like Logan's Run.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Logan's Run.
It raises the question, after 500 years of killing people on a daily basis, how did they still have people?
Well, what they said is, it like you know, 1 to 3 million people every year is how many they killed. And so, I mean, if you think about, if a planet has like, you know, 5 to 10 billion people living on it,
Yeah.
That's
you know,
sustainable.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That math
Makes sense, I
works out.
guess.
I mean, really, if it's 500 years, that's only like 1.5 billion people in 500 years. So, I mean, you know, it's a lot of people over time, but not that many in the short time.
You say so.
On this episode, Mike justifies genocide.
Yeah.
And he'll be back with Patterns of Force.
Whee!
Genocide and Nazis. Good Lord, Mike.
So, Mike, I know this wasn't like one of your influences or anything, but like after it all came together as a band, the whole intro, which is actually like the chorus is, you know, later on, but like to me, sonically and energy wise, like that is like so super chunk to me. Like that just feels like, and I mean, that's because a lot of
That's exactly what I was trying to do with the lead part on that.
yeah, and that's kind of
Super
what
chunk is exactly what I thought of.
Yeah, and I love it. I absolutely adore
Yeah,
it.
for 10 years, you've been talking about this super chunk.
Don't worry about it, Mike. Don't worry about it. We'll just have our fun.
Have you seen Goonies? You remember Chunk?
It's like chunk with a cape.
Super, yeah.
It's like the mutated chunk. It's like
It's like a sloth
Chunk and sloth
and
have baby.
Chunk combined. Yes.
Well, that was certainly not my intention,
I'm sure it was.
because I never listened to Super Chunk. Though I think based on everything that I've heard from you, I think I would probably like them, but I've never really listened.
That's
I think you would,
ridiculous.
But I think like I just think it's cool that you have this thing that you came up with. This like I just like that evolution. Like you came up with something that never you know, it was your own thing, and then like we just combine it together, and just, you know, by combining it together, it becomes this other thing, which I feel, you know, you were happy with. I mean, it's cool. It's just cool how that evolves like that.
I think my original influence for the chords and the music for the song is really more from like Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. I mean, I definitely think that
you got those open strings.
Yeah, it's very Pumpkins. I think like maybe between like 1979 and what's that other song? Is it?
But you said you wrote it in 2000.
What's that song? Is it tonight or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Okay, yeah. I think it's kind of like.
That was Phil Collins.
Gonna
No,
make
that's
it right.
tonight.
That's tonight.
That's what we were talking about.
But like, I think it's kind of an influence of like maybe those two songs kind of combined.
Do you think the song Invisible Touch might be about this episode of Star Trek? Sorry,
I'm sure there's another episode of Star Trek that it would be more appropriate for.
You mean like Adonius?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can definitely hear the Pumpkins influence.
Yeah, I hear the Pumpkins influence that you're talking about there and there. I mean, especially when I think about the demo. Yeah, I totally hear that.
Yeah, this song, I mean, between what Patrick added to it and just kind of what the whole band changed it into, I mean, it actually sounds a bit different than my original idea for it, or like just that basic chord progression that I play. I mean, it's still there and it's still a big part of it, but what everyone else brings to it really added a lot and made it something more than what I had, and I think that's really cool.
On the key part, on that breakdown, the little key run that you had me do, that was something you specifically had me do. Was that something that you had thought of, or just like came up with in the moment, or what?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
Probably you were playing around on the keys and I heard it and I was probably like, try that.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So what I remember about that breakdown, because it's a lot, I mean, the song, a lot of the verse and breakdown, everything is a lot of just like E and A, or A and E.
The entire song is A and E.
It's A and E, right?
Yeah.
But
Entertainment?
during that breakdown, there's like there's a C sharp minor, right?
Not on the album.
Not on the album. Oh, so we just started doing it live?
Yeah, you and I started adding that live. It doesn't change what anybody else plays. We just added it because we wanted to make it something like different and special. I kind of wish we had done it on the album, actually, because I really like what it adds to it.
I just remember really practicing it and trying to because I could never remember where it came in. And you'd always have to look at me and be like, no, and I'd be like, yes. But I couldn't remember. Yeah, that makes sense that it wasn't.
There's one chord in the song where Noah and I play a C sharp minor because we made that joke. We used to talk about how every song has to have a C sharp minor, and then this one didn't, so we added it.
It was the best
chord. Whenever you need that little something extra.
Is that in place of the E?
Yep, should be.
It's in place of the third C or the third E during the breakdown. Yeah, right before that last verse. How can you be so cruel? Right before that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And on the recording, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
We usually try to do, we usually try to play to a click to a certain degree. Right? You decided you and Andy just no, we're not doing a click on this. We're just gonna rock.
I think I can't remember. Maybe you remember this, Andy. But I think we might have tried it 2 or 3 times to the click, and we kept getting off of it. And then,
it's because of that crazy chaotic bridge, the boom 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 part. That part was throwing us off so much to a click.
And so we
also
decided,
then it kind of slows down when you have your breakdown after that, and it probably wouldn't have the same effect if it didn't slow down.
Yeah,
right.
So we were turn off the click. Let's just try it. And Andy and I played it one time.
Yep.
And we nailed it on the first time as soon as we got rid of the click.
And that's and you can feel that you can feel that energy in the recording. It's just that there's a difference. There's a difference when it's just comes natural and everything locks in naturally. It just has a certain vibe and certain feel to it in it that it comes off. It's
a whole controlled chaos is what I refer to it as.
Yep.
I don't think we even did a safety second take or anything. I think we did it once and it was perfect, and we just didn't even. We were all right, what's next?
Well, Those are the best.
Yep.
Doesn't happen very often.
Feeling.
No. Well, and the click track is I actually like the click track because it keeps you from going too far off, but it really does take away sometimes because it just, it just depends on where you are on a given day, but it can really make your playing feel robotic, Yeah. And you also have a tendency to, if you find you're behind or ahead or something, you adjust, but sometimes you it's so obvious that you make you're making that adjustment. Whereas if you're just doing it naturally, it tends to be a little bit smoother. I'm an advocate for the click track, but I think in this instance, it worked wonderfully without it.
Yeah, and it's always interesting with that because I think sometimes on an album, I feel like a person defaults to a slightly more slower controlled tempo than they would do live. And then sometimes live, you default to a faster, more energetic tempo. And so you hear the difference. You're like, oh my God, that's so fast live. Or, oh my God, that's so slow on the album. And it's not either too fast or too slow. It's just two different modes that you have decided to take. And it's just interesting to hear that sometimes. And I'm not saying one is good and one is bad or one is worse than the other. It's just how it is. But sometimes I feel like there's an in-between that's hard to capture. There's an in-between that like what you think should be controlled on the album and what's like the energy of on stage. And you sort of want almost an in-between of that. And that's hard to capture a lot of times.
It's the effect of the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Yes. It's about an 8.9% increase in tempo.
Yes.
And what's funny is I think that just that one part of this song and Arena are the only two songs we've done that we did not do to a click. No, I take that back. I think Givers of Pain and Delight was not.
Yeah,
it's just because that song is just chaotic.
There's probably one or two other ones throughout all of our albums, but yeah, there's very few that we have not done to the click.
Yeah. Which the click, by the way, for anybody that does not know what a click track is, it's basically just like it's just a metronome.
Well, yeah, more commonly known as a metronome.
Yeah, and it is the bane of my existence.
It's the bane of most drummers' existence. You're not alone. I mean, they're like,
I'm the click.
I am the click.
I'm sure there's plenty of drummers who are like, yeah, playing to the click's easy. I don't understand what but most of the drummers that I know, it is a bane. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're like recording multiple songs like back to back, and here you go. I was looking for it on my phone. Hearing this for like 3 hours straight. Yeah, that is
into your skull, just boring into your skull.
And what's funny is that it has to be like blasted in there because it's hard to hear over my own drum playing and over top of whatever like weird ghost vocal and guitar is being played. Because whenever we record, we always record the drums first. So I don't have anything to play along with except for one of these four guys quietly playing guitar into my headphones and like practically whispering vocals. And if it's Mike we're talking about, Mike will mess with me and start changing lyrics when I'm trying to like follow along where we are in the song. And all of a sudden he'll bust into like a verse like, let's see, what was it?
I add a lot of inappropriate things to try and make me laugh.
Much so.
I can't imagine that.
I was going to ask Andy, was this one of those? Was this the first time I did that on this song? Do you remember? Because I feel like I threw a few joke lyrics in.
Oh yeah, because with year one, I mean, we were all of us. I think we're pretty much all business when it came to like the actual recording.
Yeah.
Like, get in there, get it done, everything. We started feeling a little more comfortable when it came to year two. And
that's all gone out the window.
Yeah, but of course, year two is also when Chris started introducing, hey, I want to make this giant change to this song while we're in the studio and you have the headphones on and are all mic'd up. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the last chance to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Still, that was the year two was the first instance of you pulling that nonsense on me.
It was Squire that I did that, right?
Squire.
Yep.
That was the first one. First of many.
That was a big change too.
I don't know if I'd say many, but I have done it a couple times. Well,
enough to where it's a thing.
Per album.
Well, when you're playing it in the room and you're trying to figure things. I mean, some of these songs that we do, we don't play that much. We just play them enough that we have them, that we can play them, without just like knowing well enough. So by the time when we get to recording, I've heard the drums maybe 10 times, and they haven't really had time to settle in. We haven't played them out. And so, I'll be listening to, we'll do practice takes and I'll listen to recordings of those. And, you'll hear things that you haven't heard before. And then you come up to the point where it's right before, you're going in to record and you hear this thing and you're like, okay, if I don't change this, it's going to bother me forever. So we have to change it, but it's inconvenient. I'll give you that.
You can certainly fix it in post.
Yeah, well, I think Squire would have been difficult to fix in post.
I don't think you can change that part in Squire in post.
But you can do anything with modern recording technology.
Just know that when I do that, I'm fully aware of how inconvenient and annoying it is.
Oh, I know you do.
But if I don't do it, then I wouldn't be happy with what we came out with, and I think it's worth it. But I will concede that I have done that a couple times.
Per album.
Patrick doesn't know what he's talking. Who is this guy? Where did this guy come from?
So
who let this guy in here?
When we record like a 16-song album, we have the 4 songs apiece. It seems like we always have one each that we're really comfortable with, that we've played live and worked out, and then like 2 each that we're fairly comfortable on, but maybe still coming up with a few little things. And then there's always one song each that we've barely ever played at all, or never played at all together
until the end, and then we have to do it.
Right. Yeah. And so they're like the last 4 songs are just like last minute, let's throw this together and get it recorded.
Well, yeah, because on year one, that was
Conscious of the King. Yeah.
Because I think Conscious of the King, we had only really played together as a band like twice maybe.
I don't even know if we had played it together as a band, honestly. I think we wanted played it together to record it. I don't maybe. I mean, maybe we did. I don't remember.
I feel like that one was one that I didn't even, I barely knew it when we recorded it.
Yeah.
And on year 3 wasn't the Chicago song,
well, we practiced the music to that a lot.
I didn't have the music all recorded.
Yeah, I didn't have the words was the problem with that one.
Oh, yeah. I wrote words for you for that one, just in case you couldn't come up with something.
Oh, really?
I found those the other day. If you want to record it for like,
yes. Send me those words. I would like to see that.
I remember that just being like the very last song on year 3, like the very last song that we.
Well, that it was. Yeah. We'll talk about this a lot more eventually when we do an episode for that song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally wrote those words and recorded them a couple days before we sent the album off.
Yep.
Why can't I think of the name of that song?
It's a piece of
I know, I can't either.
Piece of the action. That's right. Yeah. I think City on the Edge of Forever was the year 2, like that was the last thing we did. And that was because I was having so much trouble putting that song together.
But again, we will cover that one in a future episode.
Yeah. Back to A Taste of Armageddon.
Back to A Taste of Armageddon. Yeah.
You know, one thing I really, really like about the song is that it's one of the very few songs where we do a 3-part harmony. You know, Mike does that lead vocal. I have kind of a mid-range low vocal, and Patrick's is a high vocal. And it just, when we don't always nail it, but when we do, it sounds so good. And it sounds, I think it's just, you know, one of the things that we do really well when we do it really well is harmonizing and figuring out where those things go. And I think on this song, we just really do a good job. I think I've always been real happy with the recording and how that sounds.
I also think it's really interesting that, like typically in a song, you'll have more harmonies on a chorus than on a verse, and this one's like reverse, like backwards from that, where the verse has all the harmonies, and then on the chorus it's just me. And I always thought that was kind of a cool stylistic choice.
There's a lot more space in the verses to add things.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool the way we structured that. I think it's I think it's a really interesting song to play. My piano part is very simple. You know, I think that, you know, we deliberately did that because it just adds a little bit of, it just adds a little something, you know, and it was perfect for what we needed. And I feel like we spent a lot of time constructing this song and making it what it is. And I think it really paid off.
Yeah.
This song is also a casualty of the Noah Butler. You can't make a song be too long effect. Because it used originally each verse, the chord progression was like the full like 4 bars or whatever, and the choruses were a full 4 bars, and I ended up like jumping time at the end of the verse to go like right into the chorus instead of letting that chord kind of ride out, because I thought Noah's going to say the song is too long, and so I did that to try and like kind of shorten it, and then I really liked how it made it not like your typical song, and it kind of like, you know, kind of rushes into that chorus. And the same thing with that last chorus. Originally I had a full chorus and then those last 2 lines that you sing with me that are different at the end, and we ended up cutting part of that chorus out because the ending was just too long. It just kind of went on and on and on, and so now it's kind of like a half chorus and then 2 new lines at the end that kind of tie up the story. Which I really like, you know, more than how I originally had it. So thanks, Noah, for putting the pressure on me to shorten my song.
Did I give you a dirty look? Was it just like one of my looks? Was it
I think you were just like,
it was a smolder.
You just kind of gave me that Noah talk. Like, we need to do something with this. It's just, it drags on too long, man.
That'll be fine.
Not Kafka.
Like Kafka.
Yeah, I like how it just kind of ends too. It hits that last, you know, that last word, and it's just done. You know, just
which means like you're disintegrating in the booth.
Yeah, right.
As it ends.
Yeah, it ends on a living casualty, right?
Yeah.
So like you hit that living casualty, and then it's over. It's very dystopian. I like it.
Yeah, it just rings out. Yeah. This
song has one of my favorite things that Patrick does on any of our songs, and it's that it's just a whole like breakdown, and then like the crazy part after the breakdown. That guitar lead is just really cool. Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah, I really like that, Patrick.
Thanks. Super chunk.
Yeah. Whenever we're playing that, and you guys are going, because my part stays the same in that, you know, after that break, and when you guys are going off into that crazy stuff, my part stay, or I guess that's before the break, isn't it? My part stays exactly the same, and so I'm just like, concentrate because Andy's going off and drumming all over the place, and I'm just like ding dong ding, just trying to like keep the beat.
You're just over there caroling the bells.
I'm click-backing over there, and it's just yeah.
I absolutely love the way it just tears into that part after that breakdown. Like I love the chaoticness of that. I just love how crazy that is on all parts. It's fun to do live. Like I love just like leaping up and just like ripping on that open E, and it just and like I love what Patrick's doing, just what he just did, and Andy's just chaos, and actually I think like with Chris is just like the only thing that stays normal, is like what Chris is doing, consistent. Like I think it's just perfect. It's a great part of a song.
We actually had a discussion about that. I mean, a brief one, where we were talking about what I was going to be doing in that part, and we were just like, well, let's just keep it and see what it's like. And I think it's really cool because it's the only grounded part of the song in that section. Yeah, and it really works. Like I just really like the way, and for me, you guys are all going off, and so I want to do that as well, and just like go crazy. But having that, pulling it back and just leaving it there, I just think it's a really nice juxtaposition to what else is going on.
Agreed.
And I'm pretty sure it wasn't my idea. I don't remember where it came from, but I know it was kind of a group think kind of thing. But it turned out real nice.
Agreed.
I don't really have any stories I can think of from playing this song live, really, like anything that stands out other than it's always fun to play live. But
there is the one video from Omega Music in Dayton, Ohio that we have on our YouTube page, which is hilarious. And the one comment that I always love is Neil Carpenter from over in England. His kids love me, and I love hearing them say my name because I say Andy fuck. But I guess whenever they watch that video, they're like, Andy dropped his stick again. Oh, silly fuck.
Oh yeah, because there's that one part in the video where you can't even tell that you dropped the stick.
Yeah.
Other than like the video showing, because you're so smooth when you grab the stick and keep playing.
It's because I'm a smooth criminal.
So smooth.
You're a professional.
That's right. Pro gear, pro attitude.
I was trying to figure out why playing that song at that particular venue and that particular show
stands out.
And maybe it's just because we have like edited and released that video, and that's why it's more burned into my brain. But like, I don't think that's it. I don't know. There was something about playing that song at that venue that just is stuck with me.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that where we went to that crazy afterwards? We went to that crazy like Thai burger place.
That was beforehand.
We did that before. Boy,
yeah. It was like an old 50s diner that they'd turned into a burger / Thai restaurant.
It was so good.
The burgers were so good.
So good.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think I had like pad thai, which I thought was a really weird thing to be eating in like a diner. But then again, the only other place to eat within walking distance that we saw was an Arby's, and I'm not eating at Arby's.
They've got the meats. Bum bum bum.
I think that's what he meant.
I could eat it.
Yeah. People do a lot of crazy things in commercials, like eat at Arby's. that was mainly for Noah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So, Noah, this is actually a song that you recorded your own bass part on.
It was, yeah, because it was a year 2 song.
Lies.
No, year 1 and year 2. It was pretty. Yeah, no, I love playing the bass line on playing the bass line on this song is so much fun because it drives so hard. It's easy to play, but it just drives really hard on the verses on the choruses and the intros, and then the like the verse is, like you said, is just like A&E, and so it's like there's just there's so many options. I can just play A&E and nothing else if I wanted to, because it's that easy, and it breaks down that much that you can just keep it that simple. Or I can do like little busy things, with the A and the E, and it's like I don't think I've ever played the same thing, like from one verse to the next, like played it exactly the same. Like, not that it was wrong any of the time, but like it's just so easy to do, so easy to make variety on it.
Yeah.
That I kind of make it up every time. I mean, I have the same bag of tricks. I just don't always do it in the same order every single time.
Right.
Well, you guys have pretty much already said, it's fun to play live. It has a lot of energy. The recording has an energy too, but it's a little bit different. And I guess maybe because it's, you're listening to it and everything was kind of recorded separately and nice and neat, it sounds less chaotic to me on the recording.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a lot less of the harmonies on the recording too than when we do them live. But it definitely sounds different, whichever way you've heard it.
Yeah. And I sort of feel like that's how it is on a lot of songs. Like,
yes.
What I don't know that everybody understands out there in the world is that, like, especially for me and probably for Mike, who do the majority of the mixing, like, when we're done with an album, I never want to hear the song ever again. And so I don't. I absolutely don't listen to it again. Like, after the albums I don't listen for a long time. But it comes up, like, I've like my whole music library is like always on my phone. So like on shuffle, it'll come up, and when a recording comes up, it's just so interesting to hear it, because I just haven't listened to it in a long time, and hearing the different albums and the different ways we sort of produced or recorded each album, and the location, and that depends on the location of where it was recorded as well, and just the differences between how we have been consistently playing it live for so many years and the way we recorded. And again, I didn't listen to the recording again. I'm only familiar with the live version of what we've done with it for so long. It's really fascinating to then, like, it comes up on shuffle and I hear it and I'm like, oh, that's what we did with that, huh? And sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's like, that's really cool. That sounds really great. Man, we really did great on that. And other times it's like, oh, that's what we did with that. That's how that
Songs evolve, definitely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of they evolve a lot after the recording comes out usually. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and we don't notice because we've been, changing it little by little all these years.
And you'll never notice.
Oh, I'll go back. I'll listen to some of the older stuff sometimes, and I think, where's this, and why is that different? Because we change it unconsciously. Sometimes deliberately, but a lot of times we make little adjustments that we just do in service of the song, and then we don't think about it, and then it becomes part of what we do, and then we realize later that it is a much bigger, more noticeable change than we thought, and then someone mentions it, or we just happen to hear it. It's just the nature of the beast, I guess. As far as Armageddon goes, I really enjoy playing this song. Every time we do it, it's one of those songs where when we play it, it's going to be fun. It's going to be good. It's a good song. I like playing it.
I don't forget the words on that third verse.
It's even better when you forget the words. It's always better when
I look over at Patrick like, what are the words? And he's just looking at me like, I don't know.
You should bring your cheat sheets like I do.
I think it's funny, and that's a funny point that you make, that every time one of us forgets words, we look to someone who did not write the song to see if they remember what the words are.
Yeah, what's hilarious about that is that I think I've had 3 out of 4 of you. I don't think Patrick has ever done it to me before, but
Look
Mike,
at you.
Mike, Noah, and Chris have all turned around to me at some point before a verse starts and go, "What's the first line?"
Hey, do you miss getting new content from 5 Year Mission? You should head over to patreon.com/5yearmission and check out our Patreon page. As a patron of the band, you will receive access to rare and behind-the-scenes pictures and videos and other cool stuff. You will also have early access to many things, like video releases or new songs. You can sign up for different levels, from ensign all the way up to admiral. One of the perks of being an admiral on 5 Year Mission's Patreon is that you get to be a producer on this podcast. Currently, our producers are Neil Carpenter, Helen Lake, Debbie Rinke, Carol Jones, Becky and Roxy, Steve and Frankie Palopoli, Madison Rachel Jones, and Jim Morehouse. Your name could be on this list if you sign up as an admiral. So head over to patreon.com/5yearmission now. That's the number 5 Year Mission.
Hey, guess what? It's a new ad from Fansets. Fansets.com, that's right. They got all new releases coming on this month, including the awesome Will Riker from TNG with his foot up on the chair. I mean, I really wish we could get like an animated pin so we could see him sit in the cool way. Also, from DS9, we got Esri Dax. That's right, Esri Dax, the replacement Dax. But, you know, she's still awesome. And also, we got Pinmojis. Pinmojis are finally here. The entire set will be released slowly but surely. But first off, we got Mr. Spock and Geordi LaForge. And, you know, Pinmojis, they're pretty much exactly what they sound like. They're like little emojis, except for all your favorite Star Trek characters. So head on over to fansets.com right now. Grab some Pinmojis, grab some Fandanglers, because I gotta mention Fandanglers every week because it's so fun to say. So, upon checkout, enter the code 5YearMission. That is the number 5, then all caps, Year Mission, 5 Year Mission. You can get 10% off of your entire order when you use that discount code. Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank Fansets for sponsoring our show each and every single episode.
so cruel? Why must you enforce this rule? How can you watch them all leave so nonchalantly?
I think that's probably going to wrap up Taste of Armageddon. I know I didn't intro the show, but I'm going to outro the hell out of it. This has been another edition of What Are Little Songs Made Of. Tune in next time. We'll have some more for you. If not, go back through the back catalog, see what you've missed. Remember, we also have a regular podcast, which I'm listening to this. You're listening to it. Make sure to listen to all the other shows on the Trek Geeks Network family of podcasts as well. Until then, I'm Andy Fark. Those are those other guys. Goodbye.
I sure want to leave. I sure want to leave.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast. If any of you are interested in listening to more of our music, you can check us out on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or pretty much anywhere that you can listen to music. Just search for 5-Year Mission and we should be the first thing that comes up. If you would like to contact us in regards to the podcast or anything else that you want to talk to us about, you can email us at 5yearmissionband@gmail.com.
And for more information about the band, you can go to 5yearmission.net. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
5-Year Mission, the podcast, is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.